He's being arraigned tomorrow, and I'm going to see him. Because the people who were supposed to protect you from the monsters turned out to be monsters themselves. And it almost killed you.
We need the sun to come back out. After so long, I think we deserve the sun.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheapseat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
The greater good. And might I say, I love hearing, I hate this month comes, but I love hearing the music into this month. That just gets me all excited again. It's great.
It is. So, funny thing about that piece of music, I've mentioned it before that we used it in our the ice show we did with Carowinds. So, and I'm going to do the normal intro, but I need to tell a story. I just think it's great because I'll forget otherwise. So we're having dinner, and for the last basically month, we've kind of, as a family, decided we're not going to watch TV. We just kind of have music on in the background so that the four of us can just kind of chat about our days and whatever, right?
Yep.
And so, since it's turned Halloween or October, the last few days, we've been having we've switched. I literally just typed in Halloween on Pandora, and it just plays different pieces of music that are Halloween themed. And it played a piece of music from, oh darn, what is the movie? Crap. It was
give me what it's about.
I can't think. It was like a Christmas kind of a movie, but it had a Halloween kind of a feel to the song. I can't think of the movie.
No, you're not talking about Nightmare Before Christmas.
Not Nightmare. We played that one. That one gets played a lot in the house. But anyway, my point is that my son says, "This is not a Halloween movie." I said, "But the song is kind of a Halloween." I'm trying to think. Oh, it was okay. Hold on. Sorry, I got you. They were playing. It was the song that they play in Beetlejuice.
Oh, okay.
Day-o, day-o, daylight come and me one go home. Like that's not a Halloween song, but it's in a Halloween movie.
Yeah,
and
it
so
makes you think of Beetlejuice.
Yeah, exactly. So I played that tune that was that last bit of the intro there, and I said, "Is this a Halloween song?" And he listens and goes, "Well, I would say kind of, because it uses sleigh bells, and they use sleigh bells a lot in Nightmare Before Christmas. And Nightmare is not really a movie about Halloween, but about Christmas. What? So I think that music is actually more about Christmas." I'm like, yes, this movie's called Scrooge. It's just another version of the
12 night the Christmas
night
past, Christmas future.
I can't think of it either. Andrew, help us. Jump in.
A Christmas Carol.
A Christmas Carol. Gosh, yes. Jeez. It's called Scrooge. It's a Christmas Carol.
Thank you, Andrew.
Anyway, I was just super impressed that he figured that out.
Yeah.
I just thought that was super cool. All right. With all that having been said, this is episode... Did I even do the Cheap Seat Reviews thing? Yeah, you know who we are. This is episode 316, and tonight we're talking about Gerald's game.
I thought it was Gerald.
Is it? No, Gerald. I am...
Gerald.
Is this
Gerald's
GIF and
game?
GIF? I am... Oh, that is interesting that it's Gerald's game and not Gerald's Jame.
Right?
I am Sean Allred, and joining me tonight is Andrew. Will never look at handcuffs the same way, Jemison.
Oh my God, will I ever? I think that I'm just the thought of handcuffs might make me vomit.
Yeah.
And Sam, please put on a shirt. Vector.
Yeah, I wonder if it was in his contract where it was like, listen, all your scenes, pretty much all your scenes in this movie are going to be in some boxer briefs and tight-fitting boxer briefs.
Yeah.
And so, Sean, if there was a way to kill you,
Yeah.
in relation to this movie, right?
It's either going to be death by dog or...
No, not at all. I would simply stuff about 300 pills down your throat, and you'd pop a hole through the roof.
Oh. That's gross. Okay.
Be pitching more than a tent there.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, I can't be just, I can't just put him on a bed or a dog and eat it. That's too easy. Too easy. I got to find something different here.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so 2017 Gerald's game.
Welcome to Halloween month, folks. This
is,
our annual, 4 or 5 horror movies that none of us really look forward to watching, I guess you could say. The month where we found some really good ones and some that we will never speak their names again. Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to imagine that just a year ago we were watching Velvet Buzzsaw.
Yes.
Speaking of one I don't want to see again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, The Conjuring was good and scary, and I don't want to watch that again because it was scary. Life After Beth was terrible, but A Quiet Place was really good. So we all enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
It seems like every year we do this because this is now our...
Find one good. Yeah.
There's always one, right?
At least one.
Mother was good, but
interesting.
I don't want to watch it again. Doom was terrible. Witch was pretty interesting and good and kind of scary. And then The Shining, which I still take heat for not thinking it's a great movie and not really liking.
Not all of us can be right, Sean.
That's fine.
No.
I mean, I can be
But
wrong.
then you got Tucker and Dale, which is one of my all-time favorite comedies.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And The Frighteners.
Yeah, The
Frighteners
Frighteners
is another great one.
I mean, I had a good time with The Babysitter. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, it wasn't
kinda
that bad.
80s camp kind of a thing.
Which, by the way, has a sequel now.
Yeah, I know.
I saw that. Is it the same girl?
No,
Yeah.
so she's not in it, but everyone else is.
Okay.
She's off doing like that movie where she's getting married and then they hunt her in the house or something. Like she's doing those kind of movies, but everyone else is back on board.
Ready or Not, was it?
Yeah, Ready or Not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is going to be another month. I guess I can just go ahead and tell you guys what the movies we're doing. So we did Gerald's Game this week. Next week we're
Gerald's
doing
Game.
We Summon the Darkness. I know nothing about it except that
Alexander Cortez is in it.
Daddario is in it. Then we're doing something that Sam is making us watch called Midsommar.
Yeah, Midsommar.
Midsommar. I have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we're doing Train to Busan.
Isn't that Shakespeare?
I don't know.
It sounds like something
Night's Dream.
Yeah, it does.
Midsommar's Night Dream.
Yeah. Train to Busan is our last one. This is the same guy.
It's a Korean language, so bear in mind that it's going to be in subtitles.
It is subtitled. You're right. Excuse me. So clips will be weird. But this is the same guy what directed Snowpiercer and Parasite.
Yeah, the Academy Award winning.
I think I'm right there. So
yes,
I'm looking forward to that. It looks to be terrifying and zombies and trains and stuff, but I've been told it's really, really good as far as zombie flicks go. So I'm actually kind of maybe that'll be that movie for this month. Who knows?
Who knows? It could be this one. We'll see.
It could be this one, but it's not. No, I don't know. Gerald's Game 2017. This is a Stephen King adaptation.
Yeah.
Made for by Netflix, so it's a Netflix.
And you could tell because they use a lot of Netflix actors and actresses in this movie.
Do they really? I mean,
the Haunting of Hill House is basically the mother and father in this movie.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I did see some trivia that there's a lot of Haunting of Hill House in this. It's just funny you said there's a lot of actors and actresses. There's only like 11 people in the entire movie.
Yeah. Sorry. So 2 out of the 11, if there's 11.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, okay, I'll put it to you this way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the, I don't know, maybe 20 people that are in this movie. Only 11 have pictures on their IMDb account.
Oh wow!
So
cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is kind of typical for horror films, if we really think about it.
if you use a name brand actor, it's almost like plot armor. That's why Scream got us all off kilter because of Drew Barrymore and her killing in the first 5 minutes of that film.
Yeah.
Right? Remember when
Yeah.
they're promoting it with her, and it was the perfect way to get you into a
You remember
horror movie.
not a horror movie, but they did the same thing with that Executive Decision movie. They have Steven Seagal's face on the poster, and he dies in the first 7 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I kind of like that though.
Well, I
I
mean,
like
that-
to usurp my expectations.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm good with
that makes me happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't he sucked out of a plane in that one? Or
something like that? Yeah. Yeah.
I can't remember, but it was like something very unceremoniously.
It was one of those things where he had to stay behind in the dying plane so that the team could get aboard, and he had to shut the door, and then he was gone.
Wait. Was the Mark Wahlberg, Will Ferrell movie when they jumped off the roof?
Yeah. When The Rock
Samuel
and Sam Jackson. Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. That I didn't see that coming at all.
No.
That was weird. It was so weird.
So yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Gerald's
this movie.
So Gerald's Game. So I was a little nervous about this movie because it's a Stephen King adaptation, and obviously there's a couple of exceptions, but it feels like more of the Stephen King books into movies are terrible.
Yeah.
And I know it feels like recently they've been figuring it out. You know, obviously we have the great Shawshank Redemption. But and I know that what is it? Doctor Sleep I've heard is really good.
Yeah, I also
I want to see that
one.
And but there's also a lot of, and The Green Mile is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also, Maximum Overdrive, which is terrible, and Cujo, which is terrible, and
Well, there was kind of it's either okay. Let me get my frame of thought together.
Yeah.
Stephen King movies are either really good or really bad.
Yeah.
There's very few in the middle game. I might just put this one in the middle, but you've got things like Shawshank Redemption. Even the It movies were great. Even the old and the new ones are good movies. The Shining, I know you don't like, but it's generally considered to be a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
That. But then, like you said, you've got Pet Sematary, you've got Apt Pupil, you've got some of these other just kind of big name Stephen King movies that just turn out to be kind of poopy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a hit or miss. I like how there's been a bit of a renaissance with Stephen King now.
There really has. Now, even in our Renaissance period, they still poop out something like The Dark Tower. And
but if you've read the book, which I have, it's an interesting, cool story. They just can't seem to be able to translate it.
Wait a minute, you
Now,
read The Dark Tower?
I'm always hearing people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Sean. I'm always hearing people say that the books are more interesting and books are better than the movies. And I think in the case of Stephen King, that might be true. Now, I personally haven't read any, and you guys probably have. But do you think that's the case?
I think so.
Well,
if there's any Stephen King book to cut your teeth on, I would highly suggest 11. Oh crap! It's a date.
11,
It's
27, 64, 11.
63
Oh, yeah,
or something like that. It's about JFK and time travel, and it's
I've seen
perfectly.
the show with Franco, but
Oh, you saw the show? Okay, so you
Yeah.
probably know the gist of it or whatever. But the book is flipping amazing.
I'm amazed that we're discovering this on the show. Which books of The Dark Tower have you read?
Just the first one. Just
The
first one.
Gunslinger. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm on book 4 of the Dark Tower series. Like right now, I'm doing the audiobook. I've been consuming it like crazy, and it's great. It's all really
It
interesting
is,
and weird
right?
and good. And Andrew, to your point, it's not just it's not just the comparison like Lord of the Rings books are better than the Lord of the Rings movies. I mean, those are
Right.
pretty. You know what I'm saying? It's because there's more detail. It's more like the books are better because they're usually really weird, and
Yeah.
and sometimes it doesn't translate very well to a movie. I mean, the original It that I watched, which I know I've told the story that I watched it backwards, but the original It is kind of not a good movie. There's nothing really. The creepy parts is because it's of Tim Curry. Tim Curry makes it creepy, but when you get to the end of the movie and you find out what it is, it's really bad. Like, it's nothing scary about that weird animatronic stop motion spider thing. Yeah, there's nothing scary about that. So now I do want to,
but a lot of Stephen King books, I will mention, is it's in the characters' heads.
Yeah,
right. It's a whole lot of mental stuff, which is really hard to put on screen.
Right, which is what this movie did really well, I think.
I totally agree. When she's debating between her dead husband and her other self, I love some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. It was very clever.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was really clever and really smart. And I thought, because, so it's funny. So Andrew, you watched this one first, and you were giving us a couple, like, this part made me want to, like, look away. And there's, and Sam, your comment was simply, oh, good, I'm glad it's not just a movie about a girl, chained to a bed, which 90% is still that. But I watched the whole thing, and I got a little squeamish at the same part you did. And then I went back because there was a part that I found in the trivia that I missed, and I went back to find it. And so I basically ended up rewatching about a third of the movie again earlier today. And I realized something in my rewatching, in that this movie isn't about a girl and her survival of the chain in the bed. And we're going to do our 5-word reviews here in just a second, guys. We'll get there. I know I'm kind of going out of order with everything. But it kind of hit me this time is that this movie is more about a girl, or a woman, I should say, escaping the bonds, and I use air quotes, bonds, of all of the men in her life that have let her down.
Yep.
It's
or who have been monsters to her in some way.
Yeah. And I know the ending kind of says that, right? And that's why I picked that opening clip. It's like, they were supposed to protect us from the monsters, but they were the monsters. It didn't hit me the first time I watched it. It hit me like a ton of bricks the second time as I was going through it, thinking, wait a minute. This isn't about her getting out of a bed. This is her, like I know it's real, like in the movie it's portrayed as real, but this is almost another one of those moments where, like, it almost feels like this is just her coping mechanism to the fact that her husband died. Like, she was never actually handcuffed. Like, it was all in her head. She's handcuffed to, like, depression or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like
it's a metaphor. The whole thing, the handcuffing is a metaphor.
Yeah, to kind of steal a little bit of Andrew's thunder from last week. And I mean, I know it was real because they say it in the movie it's real. But then again, I'm not going to lie. Up until the part at the end when she hands
Moonbeam?
Yeah, Moonlight Man is what his character was. I'm trying to
Moonlight
think
Man.
of what was his name in Addams Family. Lurch.
Lurch.
It's the guy that played Lurch in the Addams Family movies. When she hands him the ring, I thought there was going to be, because it's still Stephen King, so I thought there was going to be a little bit more magic, demon, something, and then it turned out...
I thought she was going to lose a toe.
Oh, interesting.
Because they mentioned that, right? They mentioned at some point, I believe her dead husband tells her, pretty soon here, that man's going to be back. He's going to want more than the ring. He's going to want a metacarpal, I think you said.
Yeah, or
as
a
well.
bone, or you're right. Yeah, he did say that. Yeah. Anybody else get squeamish when she wakes up and she looks down and she sees a picture of him licking her feet? Did that weird you guys out?
Yes.
Okay. Either that means that actor had to lick her feet or somebody else's feet or a dummy's feet, but either way, it kind of...
Well, and you got
some feet got licked.
Yeah.
Let's do our 5-word reviews and then
yeah. Did
kind of.
Are we gonna try to find a sounder for that? I never did really figure out one.
No,
for that.
just pick a random.
Not a great plan.
Okay, there we go.
That works.
Yeah,
that works.
Sam, you go first. Sorry, I was taking a drink.
All right, so I've got two here. The first one is, well, that escalated quickly.
Yeah.
And the second one is another interesting one-room movie, right?
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, this was not an Oscar-winning movie, right? But I think every single actor in this thing acted their chops off.
Yeah.
For what they had. She totally sold me on being just completely, out of it, helpless in this thing without being the typical horror movie. What do you call it? The victim,
Yeah.
right?
She's not just a damsel in distress. She has to figure some stuff out.
The only problem I have in this movie, right? The only problem is, again, with my first review, is escalated quickly. I think it would have served the movie a little bit more justice, or it would have served it better if they would have showed a little bit more passage of time before crap started hitting
made
the
us
fan.
care about the character a little bit more.
Well, no, maybe not
I
even
think
that.
I think we do that.
Yeah,
We grow an appreciation and a respect for her as the movie goes on.
yeah, and they do that differently in this one, where it's not a build up at the beginning, it's a during, right? It's when they start showing what she went through with as a kid, and you're starting to see why she is having troubles with the men in her life, basically. But in terms of somebody strapped to a bed, I felt like her starting to have debates with the demons inside her head started a little too soon, right?
Yeah.
Like
No,
they mentioned it in the movie that seeing your husband getting eaten by a dog will certainly cause you to go insane. But I think I don't know. I think I would have liked to seen at least a shot where it's just her in the bed and you see the sun rise and set and rise and set or something.
Oh, you wanted her to go like 24 hours before she starts talking to herself.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about because they do a passage of time, right? Like once she kind of realizes her panic, the camera pans back, and then we leave the house, and then we come back to the house, and that's when she's still kind of crying for help a little bit, but you can tell she's tired. And then the hand comes on top, and he stands up, and you're like, "Whoa, wait a minute!"
What?
And then he yells at the dog and stuff, and then that's when he starts going through. That's when you realize that okay, he's in her
something's
mind.
not right with that. Yeah.
And then we get the passage of time. It's been 5 hours, and you've wasted away yelling for someone you know is dead, right? So like this is her coming to grips with the reality of the situation, and so I'm kind of okay with that part, honestly.
Yeah.
I actually have almost nothing to complain about in this movie.
No, and good Lord, when what is it? It's not Moonlight Man. What is it again?
Yeah, Moonlight Man. Yeah, I think that's
Moonlight
what it is.
Man.
Yeah.
When his first appearance freaked me out. just I knew it was a Stephen King movie, so I knew something strange was going to start happening in terms of that. But did you guys, and maybe we kind of needed the end to wrap up the story about how she breaks free of her problems, but I felt it to be a little forced. Describing the Moonlight Man and how he was a real thing the entire time. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it was a bookend that didn't quite fit in this movie, and I don't know how else they would have done it. But I just think her going into the courthouse, and it seemed off to me. And maybe it was because it was 3 minutes of a hour and something movie where you're stuck in the bedroom. It just felt too much of a juxtaposition to what everything else was.
Well, the way I look at it is she needs that moment at the end to confront, because the movie shows us that she's confronting her dad and then Bruce Greenwood and then Moonlight Man, as to say, I am now okay. I have beaten you. You are smaller than me. I am the big one here. Like she's now confronted that, and she is truly free of that.
Yeah.
And that's why the last scene is as she's walking away in the sunset, you look up at the sun and you can see as the eclipse is finally ending, like the eclipse on her life has finally ended. So there's a lot of really great symbolism in the movie for that kind of a thing. Andrew, what you got?
Well, my 5-word review kind of goes along with what you said earlier. I just simply said prisoner of her own mind.
Ah, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Rather than being chained, like you said, to the bed. She's really trapped in her own mind. And the movie itself, I'm right there with you. I can't find much wrong with it at all.
But then again, it's not like a great movie either, right? So I have a hard time, if I was taking points away, what am I taking them away with?
I will say that I really enjoyed it as much as I didn't enjoy it. So I told you.
But isn't
I
that
told
the
you
definition of a good horror movie, right?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
really enjoyed it. That I hated it. Yeah.
I mean, like you said, the Moonlight Man. When he was first on screen and she's, uh, her vision's blurry and it's dark, and I think we've all experienced that where we think we see something. I remember my wife woke me up one night and she said, "There's somebody in our house. They're standing at the end of the hallway."
Oh,
And it was
God.
ended up being just her, dreaming and half asleep, half awake, and there was nothing there. But, I think we've all experienced something like that where we can relate to that in a sense that night, that's the reason I couldn't really sleep after watching it. Not so much the peeling off of skin, which that one, I've seen horror movies and I've enjoyed horror movies and I've enjoyed gruesome scenes in movies. But there's a small list, and we'll get to it later, of movies that I cannot watch those scenes. And this one, I literally I put my hand in front of my eyes and turned my head because it hurt to watch.
Yes, they did whoever did the makeup on that, spot on job, because that was painful through the screen. I mean, that was just when you saw the tendons and the ripping. Oh God. Okay. Yeah.
Well, and the part that really sells it, I think, is not just seeing. This is the grossest part of the movie, obviously. So to give you a description, if you've not watched the movie, which you should watch this movie before you listen to this show, I think, is that she realizes the only way to get the cuff off is if she cuts part of her hand, so that her skin will be slick with blood, so she can get the cuff off. The problem is she cuts so deep enough that as she's pulling her hand through, it takes part of her skin. And you do see tendon and sinew and bone, not bone, but muscle, right? And it's not just the visual; it's the sound work with it.
Sound, yeah.
Like
the sound Foley work. I don't know what they were doing.
I was going to say, what do you think they had? What was the, there was some slapping. There
was a little bit.
Definitely.
It might have been some that they just. Take like a steak and just kind of peel it. Like if you already have a cut and you're kind of rending it. But it also kind of reminded me. Go ahead, Andrew.
Well, no, I was going to say it reminded me of when my dad used to take me to the meat processor when he would kill a deer.
Yeah.
And you would hear the skin ripped off after, preparing it to cut up to,
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
Not to gross out our listeners, if we haven't already, but like it kind of reminded me of when you get a steak, you're at the house, and it comes in that little kind of saran wrap, on the plastic, and you're peeling that off the steak itself, because what you're doing is like, oh, I'm getting ready to have a delicious steak, so that sound doesn't bother you. But for whatever reason, like it's that Foley work kind of made me think about it a little bit. Like as I'm thinking about it, it's kind of like that plasticky sound as you're pulling it off of the meat. I don't want to get too gross. That was definitely by far the grossest part of the movie. The part that was the most cringeworthy, and we're gonna do later just to gross you listeners out more. We're gonna do our top 3 is gonna be cringeworthy moments in movies,
which is saying something because there was a scene of a daughter and a father in this movie that was disturbing. Was just disturbing.
Yeah. That part,
because I was watching the movie, I thought that was the scene Andrew was talking about until the
said handcuff scene. Yeah. So that part is obviously. I mean, it's super uncomfortable, and it's just. I mean, obviously, I know Andrew, you have boys, but you can certainly appreciate the severity of the moment. And Sam and I both have daughters. It's just like
Why?
yeah,
I mean,
why?
how is that even a choice for
Yeah,
a?
so
Yeah.
it's hard to imagine, but people's brains are wired strange.
Yeah.
My 5-word review, which I think is kind of a play off of Andrew's, was an introspective journey while bedbound.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
So anyway, this movie is that. It's about her trying to get free of the shackles that she put herself in because of the situation she had with her dad. Gosh, yeah. So getting through some of my notes here before we get to some clips. I don't have very many clips for obvious reasons. I did write that the guy didn't have to honk at the dog. It would have moved, but I guess that we need to establish that he's a dick.
Yeah. We need to do something to get the audience to know that he's not
Yeah.
the best guy in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did write, they left the door open. Take 2 seconds to go shut it. I can't. I know that it creates tension, and it has to, right? Because it creates a sense of urgency for the dog and for Moonlight Man.
So I didn't even realize that the door was left open. I thought that somehow the dog crawled through a window because all the windows were open.
Yeah.
Because I was waiting to see the dog come through the window.
Yeah.
But we never saw that, so I thought, well, maybe there's a open window in another room, and I just didn't even catch the door.
Yeah, the door up. Like, she looks back and
Yeah,
sees that
door's
the
open.
door is open, and I thought, what's about to happen. Like, you're going to go into the bedroom and do things. Shut the door. But
Although they're so secluded. I mean, when I do stuff like that, I certainly open all the blinds and the doors, to the house. Neighbors can watch. I don't care.
there's, I know you're making a joke, but I mean, there was a time period where you had plans to build a cabin in the woods, and
Yeah.
I can't imagine, because I know where the property is. I cannot imagine you leaving that door open longer than you ever have to.
I mean, no, I guess you're right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially if
I'm also, I grew up in a house where the nearest neighbor was a mile away. So our doors were always open, always.
okay.
So my hope for something in Boone, my doors would be open, but there would be a screen door.
There'd be a screen door, yeah. And
yeah, I don't want to let bugs in.
Yeah, bugs and other wildlife. I mean,
I don't care about. I don't think other wildlife would. I mean, if they want to watch, they could watch.
You don't think some raccoon's going to start coming in and I don't know, eat some trash or something? That'd be kind of scary.
If I'm not home, I'm going to close the doors. Absolutely.
But anyway,
being home, I think I scare them away, especially with what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, what has happened? Let's get the hell out of here. I wrote this. This would have been a short story if they had voice activated Siri back then.
Oh, true. I didn't even think of that. And I texted you guys. Why doesn't she just shimmy the bed over?
Yeah.
I still think she could have. I don't think the bed was heavy, but the phone was dead anyway. So it would have been.
Well, they kind of make it seem like, because when she finally gets the one hand free, I mean, she had to put her shoulder into the bed to move it over far enough so that she could use her foot to monkey grab the phone, which was dead, but.
Yeah, I really think that's a Titanic moment. That's a Jack can get on the door type of moment for this movie, where I really think she could have moved the bed in enough time.
Yeah, maybe show us her trying.
Even shimmy it over to the bathroom. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think by shifting your weight, you could. Now, it would take a while.
But then again, Sam, let's just be fair, okay? You weigh more than she does. You know what I'm saying? Like my 225, I could probably get the bed to move over. The worst case scenario is she moves only the mattress.
That's true.
So maybe show us that her attempting to do that and seeing that it doesn't work. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. By the way, I have to mention, she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I've always thought so.
Gorgeous. And
what was it
this
that
movie
she was
really,
in? Was it something with Pauly Shore back in the early '90s or late '80s?
Oh, I don't know. I'll look.
I don't remember, but this
Gosh,
movie I noticed especially because she was in makeup for a lot, right? And her second person there was in makeup, but she didn't have any makeup on after a while when she was chained to the bed. And I
She
still
was in
thought she
Son-in-Law.
looked gorgeous. Son-in-law. Nice.
That's what it was called. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought back then she was gorgeous, and she still is.
Yeah.
Oh, she was on Spin City for a while. I watched that show for a little bit.
And was she not in?
Oh, she was in The One with Jet Li. She's the girl in that movie. I like that movie. It's not a good movie.
Was she in The Watchmen, or is that? Am I thinking of
Yes,
somebody?
she's Sally Jupiter or Silk Spectre.
Yeah.
She's done a bunch of work. I mean, she's been working for a long time, and obviously what we saw her last week in Sucker Punch.
Yep.
She was in Man of Steel as Kalor, but she only did the voice.
Oh. Hey, she was born in Sarasota, Florida. That's just around the road
How about that?
from me.
So, and then of course she's Haunting of Hill House. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, she's great. I did see so I was looking up some other stuff about the movie because IMDb trivia is always lacking when it comes to Netflix movies. And one of the things I thought was kind of neat was that when doing scenes for the day, she chose to do her scene standing on, the her too, right? The what was her name? What's her character name? Jessie. She would do Jessie 2, right? The imaginary Jessie first, because that one was in makeup and she felt that character was more powerful than Jessie 1.
Yeah.
And so she would do those lines that would get her energy up so that she could then expel all that energy in the panting and being panicked and whatever, strapped to the bed, because it's also easier to make you up to look bad than it is to look good. So it was easier to just make up, to literally just come and just wash her face and then put some, make her look sweaty, So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was some interesting stuff. Actual genuine trivia that mattered, I think. That was interesting. So maybe I need to start doing more of that kind of looking up than just relying on IMDb's trivia, because it's not always very good. I did write that I've been reading the Dark Tower series, and King does kind of like to reference his works and his
And everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's it's almost like a shared universe.
Well, I did see today a map where everything is kind of connected in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really get into too much detail on it, but
I always worry about looking at things like that to get spoiled. Right?
Yeah, actually,
I tend to try not to.
Yeah, I didn't look at it very well because I didn't have a chance to. But I while reading the Dark Tower, there's a moment where one of the characters, who is from Earth, that's all I'll say about it, is from our Earth, says he makes a Cujo reference. And so I'm like, oh, okay. And then there's another one he does too, but I can't think of what it is. Oh, I think they make a Shining reference also. They make a Shining reference.
Nice.
So
cool.
I just thought, it's kind of neat. I guess the idea that the characters in the book, and they come from a world where Stephen King works exist, whereas Roland the Gunslinger doesn't, which I think is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this about the movie, but I have not watched the movie. I was told never to watch the movie if I wanted to read the books. And the problem is that I've been viewing the character of Roland as Idris Elba, and when all the descriptions is he's a white guy, and so they keep talking about him being sunburnt and pale. I'm like, how do I mentally picture Idris Elba with sunburnt and pale, and long curly black hair? I'm like, so anyway, it's fine.
Nice.
Cutting the wrist part was hard to watch.
Oof. Oof.
The last note I wrote was, I know she's in need of help and she's just trying to escape, but there's no immediate danger to her anymore. because she's sort of bandaged. I know she needs to get to a hospital to get bandaged up. But she thinks Moonlight Man's not real. She doesn't think that thing is real. So can you not go by to the kitchen and like grab a bottle of water or do you have any prepared food, like a snack or something? I know that we needed a quick way to get her to the hospital, and it's just quicker to have her crash into a car as she's passing out. And
as Goofy Guy is whispering mouse into her ear, which had to have been a vision, right?
Yeah.
Him in the car was a vision.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't know. That was one of the times where the decision was like, you've been pretty clever this entire time. It would have been clever to take a bottle of water with you. Just saying. All right, I'm going to play a couple clips now if you guys are ready.
Yeah.
And I mentioned them making reference to other. This movie is a movie that's fairly devoid of humor or joy. I mean, this movie it's kind of a hard, heavy movie that deals with some kind of real things,
real issues, real crazy horror issues.
Yeah,
like real horror.
Yeah,
horror that could happen to you.
Exactly. Yeah. Not fantastic clowns in the sewer, but like legitimate stuff. But of course, if you're going to make a reference to, I know, another Stephen King, I'm going to have to clip it. So I did.
I probably gave him at least the weekend off. Who could possibly hear you screaming? Except Cujo over there?
There you go. And I know that maybe the director told Bruce Greenwood, who of course is our Star Trek connection of the movie, to say the line, but I bet you that's written in the book. I would almost bet that's written in the book. Yeah. This is another from, and Sam, you haven't gotten there. If you only read Gunslinger, then you haven't gotten to this quote yet. But when he said it, and here's the crazy thing. I'm watching this at work as I do. I got my headphones in, and I missed this line. And while doing trivia, I saw this, and I thought, wait, this is why I went back and watched so much more of the movie to get this line here.
Everything dies. All things serve the beam.
All things serve the beam. That's a theme that will resonate starting in book 3 and keep going.
Yeah.
In the Dark Tower series. Everything serves the beam. All things
beam
serve.
as in BEAM, not like lima beam.
Not beam. The idea that the Earth.
That's actually a porno.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Now I captured this one as originally going to be the intro, and then I realized 1, it was too long, and 2, it's pretty dark, and I didn't want to start the podcast off on such a dour note. But I thought it was really, really good dialogue, and it's very good. This is very Stephen King dialogue. I thought it's really good. It's 1.5 minutes long, so just.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, but I wanted to. I think if you're not going to watch the movie, I think this is worth hearing. So just tuck in. I normally don't do this, but this is the only other clip I have. So if you here we go.
People are safe from ghouls and ghosts and the living dead in the daylight. And they're usually safe from them at night if they're with others. But a person alone in the dark. Women alone in the dark are like open doors, Jesse, and if they scream for help, who knows what might answer? Who knows what people see in the moment of their solitary death? Is it so hard to believe that some of them might have died of fear? No matter what the words on the death certificate say. Died of fear. Because they saw at their bedside the Moonlight Man. Maybe that's just what death looks like.
Not real.
Then why did the dog leave?
I just think that's great.
I love it.
Yeah.
That
As
is
soon as
That's so good. That's
Yeah,
just
as
that
soon
had
as
to
I
have been
heard,
taken straight out of the book. I mean, that's just
yeah.
total Stephen King.
As soon as I heard, then why did the dog leave? I thought, oh my God, this guy is real.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no way that it's a vision. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like there's something there, whether it's death or just a dude or something, but something showed up.
Something.
And-
Well, then you've got the freaking bloody footprint, for God's sake.
Yeah.
yeah.
Gosh. Yeah.
I
Oh,
will
one
say
thing I meant
that-
to go back to see. I was his ear missing. When towards the last of the movie, they mentioned this guy was taking ears, right?
Yeah.
When he was laying on the ground and she passed him, she kind of passed out on him, but then woke back up and left.
And saw him mutilated there.
Was his ear there?
I don't know. I don't remember looking. I just remember it being just kind of a gross thing, but I just assumed that was from the dog.
I did too.
Well, yeah, but again,
because at that point we don't know that he's real.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I don't know. Time for this.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
I didn't capture any tropes. This movie is a Stephen King, so I mean, there's some Stephen King tropes, but there's not really a lot of just kind of normal dumb tropes to deal with, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Gerald says we should take our medicine is a reference to the novel The Shining, in which Jack tells Danny to take his medicine. When Jesse talks about the Moonlight Man's bag of bones, this is likely a reference to Stephen King's novel of the same name.
Bag of bones, right?
Bag of bones. And lastly, when Jesse is walking down the hall towards the Moonlight Man, and I had to go back and look at this because I didn't catch it the first time. When she's walking towards the hall, towards him, there is a shot of a rook's skull hanging from his neck. This is a reference to Cuthbert in the Dark Tower series. He is known for having a rook's skull hanging around his neck. He calls it his little lookout. So there you go. Now, I do have to do this, and I apologize. This is a little my own horn tooting. I have a Stephen King connection. And that is, I was on the film set. We did the first film set I ever worked on was a Stephen King movie. Stephen King has this cool deal where if you're going to take one of his short stories or novels and make it for either like a film festival or just your own personal whatever, he will only charge you $1 for the rights to that piece. If you're not going to make money off of it.
Yeah.
And so the director was a guy named Brian Berkowitz, and he was a grad student at NYU. And so he had gotten a budget of about $15,000 and came down to North Carolina to film the short story called Sorry, Right Number. And I was the boom operator on that. It was the first film set I'd ever been on. And we shot it in film. We shot it on Super 16 film. And it was very cool. And the concept of the story, it's real simple, is that husband and wife, family, and the husband is a writer. He's a mystery novel writer. And one night they're watching his book has just made into a movie. So they're watching the movie on TV, and the movie's done. And he says, "That was great, good night," and goes to bed. And so she's sitting there just kind of watching TV. The phone rings. She answered it, and there's a panicked woman on the phone on the other line, and she's saying, "You have to save him. You can save him. You need to hurry." And then the line goes dead. So she freaks out. So the next day she wakes up. She tells her husband. She thinks it's her friend. They go over to visit the friend. The friend is fine. They're not really sure what's going on. They get back to the house. Her husband has a heart attack and dies. Fast forward 10 years. She is remarried. And she's still struggling with the death of her first husband. So she is sitting on the couch watching TV. And his movie comes on, the 10-year anniversary of the death of the guy that wrote this book that made this movie. And as the movie is playing, she absentmindedly reaches over, picks up the phone, dials a number, and then she speaks the line to herself. "You can save him if you hurry," whatever, and then hangs up. And that's how the movie ends.
Interesting.
Right, that's how the movie ends. So it was super cool, and it was really cool to be on that set and to do that. So that's my personal connection to Stephen King. One of these days, I actually want to read that short story because I think that'd be pretty cool. But
Yeah.
there's an IMDb listing for that movie, and I'm listed as boom operator, so that's pretty cool.
Nice.
But that also was
Boom operator.
that's also a movie that has only 3 people with IMDb photos. So
You should get your picture in there.
I could or not. I'm just happening to look in here to see if that guy did anything else. That director. So he only directed that movie. Since then, he has gone on to produce Playboy's The Antiviral Show. It was a TV series. He produced some shows. He produced a short called Cannabis Pro Tips Halloween. Something called what? I don't know. And then he's doing a short called Christmas Buds. All right. So, not really doing it, but, yeah, well, that's fine. Cool. That's it. Time for this.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
All right. Time for some cringe-worthy moments. That's right. Movies,
Oh, we're gonna
scenes
have to go through this, aren't we?
movies that make you squirm. So, I bet that at least one of us is going to have the same as another. I would bet. I had to cheat a little bit on one. So, Andrew, you can lead us off.
Okay. So the first one I have, it's not really grotesque in any way, but it's really hard for me to watch. And that is the scene in Casino Royale where Bond is getting the testicle torture.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's one of my honorable mentions. Yep.
I mean, it hurts to watch.
It hurts to watch.
It's not one that I necessarily have to look away, but it hurts to watch it.
Yes, totally agree.
Yeah. Number 2, I have American History X.
Shoot. Okay.
With Edward Norton, where he literally curb stomps this gang member's head with his mouth open on the curb. And there's something about the teeth that just, I mean, yeah, his head is smashed in, but there's something about the teeth that just,
Well, it makes him bite the curb. He says bite the curb. You know?
Yeah. And then number 1, one of the guilty pleasures that I have is Bone Tomahawk.
Oh, God. How did I not remember that?
Splitting that wishbone right down the middle.
Jeez, that's
and the sound.
That
one's hard to watch.
Yeah, that still bothers me. I can't believe I forgot about that. Dang. All right, Sam.
All right. I've got my number 3 is the curb stomp. So Andrew got me there. My number 2 is in 127 hours.
Yeah.
You knew it was coming. You knew it was going to happen. But when you start seeing him cutting his arm off with a dull knife, I have to turn my head. I can't. I just can't watch it. But my number one, and it's another Stephen King movie, is the misery breaking the ankles.
Yeah.
The hobbling of the author. Oh my gosh. And this was before I had ankle problems. I just cannot watch that part. I literally, nowadays, I think I'd have to leave the room during that part. But holy crap, that was, it almost makes my stomach sick thinking about that. So, Opie, what do you got?
So, one of my honorable mentions, this is my cheat because it's not from a movie, but in Daredevil Season 1, when Fisk beats to death a man with a car door, and you hear the sound of his, I guess his brain hitting the ground. That part churns my stomach. You don't see it, but you don't need to because you know what's going on. It's rough. And the reason he does it is rough too, because like he just broke up his dinner or something, like he interrupted his dinner. And I did the Casino Royale, the one too.
Yes.
Yeah. So and I too did Misery with the ankles. That part.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. I've never seen the movie, but I've seen that scene, and that scene gives me the heebie-jeebies. I can't do it.
Yeah.
The other one that I did was in, I guess my number 2, you can call it, would be in Hannibal, when he cuts open Ray Liotta's head and starts eating his brain. For some reason, that gets me. I don't know what it is. But my number one, it's more like a thing that happens in a lot of movies than just one specific. But there's something about when like a hero and a bad guy are fighting, and the bad guy gets stabbed, like through the gut, and he pulls himself closer. Like to try to kill the guy or whatever, and there's something about that like they do it in the Fellowship of the Ring, when he's fighting the Uruk-hai, that he gets him in the belly and he just pulls himself closer, and it's sort of like, oh, there's something about that just. It really gets me. I don't know what it is. They do it kind of poorly, but they also do it in the Star Trek 10 with the guy that plays Bane, but he's very young. They do it in that movie too. Yeah. Again, kind of the same thing where he's like pulling himself on the metal thing, and then he tries to choke out Picard but dies. That's just something about it. Just ugh. So anyway, gross. It's all gross stuff. There's other ones. I couldn't think of anything else. Of course, now that I'm thinking about, remember Paycheck that we did for the movie when they're hammering his toes? That part's pretty rough too. That part's rough. All right.
Any movie, any eye gore, right?
Eye gore, finger gore,
fingernails.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I almost added to my list the scene from Casino where he gets his fingers broken with a hammer. Yeah. There's something about fingers and eyeballs just.
Yeah. Well, they're sensitive, right? Like they're kind of our vulnerable spots. I mean, you can get hit. You can get hit by a rope knot in the nuts a whole bunch of times, but I mean, frankly, you'll be all right. But you need your fingers and your eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like you need those things.
I kind of need my.
I don't know that I would be all right.
I'm not saying you'll be all right. I'm just saying.
I would be. Now listen, you had a choice between a hammer on your finger or a hammer on your nuts. Which one would you take?
If the damage is you know what I'm saying? Like if the damage is equal. You know what I'm saying?
I think I'd take a finger. I really think I would take a finger.
You're gonna lose a finger? That's what I'm saying. Like if you smash your finger to it's gone. You've now lost you would rather lose your index finger than your junk.
Yes, I would.
Your balls. I don't know.
I think it would hurt more if you got hit in the junk than it would.
I think once they're gone, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like once you hit that one time, I think it's gone.
Have you ever been kicked?
Of course I've been kicked there.
How long does that stay with you?
Okay, I get a little while. You get it in your belly, and it hurts. Yeah. But I'm saying like you need your index finger. You can't play video games without this. You can play video games without your junk.
Well, but you can't play other stuff.
Yeah.
Well, no,
more important stuff.
Your kibble is still there. It's just your bits are gone.
But the bits are important.
They're not anymore. Not for us.
For pain issues.
The three of us have our kids. We're done, so we don't need them anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like we need them.
Says you.
Yeah.
No.
I need to fill the world with Sam.
I like it.
It's a terrible idea. I'm going to play this before this gets worse.
Wait, what's supposed to happen?
Thank you, Daniel Radcliffe, for saving us. Good gosh. We're going to give this movie a score of 0 to 10.
Yep.
How many handcuffs are we going to give this movie? Andrew?
I'm going to give this...
Can I just say I'm glad Andrew has to go first?
Yeah, this is kind of tough. Yeah. I don't know if it helps you, Andrew, but IMDb has it at 6.6.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's respectable. I liked it a little better than that, though. I think I'm going to say 6.9.
So you liked it just a little bit better than Sucker Punch?
Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, I did. I would watch this again before I'd watch Sucker Punch.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Sam.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Andrew there, and this is hard to judge. I've got a 7.1. I'm gonna give it a 7.1.
Okay.
It's a deep horror movie, which I wasn't expecting, and I did kind of enjoy it. I literally it kept my attention, which was something that doesn't happen a lot. So I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good movie. I think it's a good psychological drama kind of a thing. I wouldn't use the word horror. I mean, really, the only horror part is the wrist thing. But
Well,
I
and
don't
you've got
know.
a dog eating a body.
Yeah, I mean,
You
it's
got a-
kind of gross.
you got a moon face guy.
You've got Moonlight Man.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
we don't.
it's-
But he's just a story, right? He's not. He's not actually scary in the movie. He's just.
I don't know, but it scared me the first time I saw him.
I was a little freaked out. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, yeah, but the first time you
And
think,
then you see him at the end of the hallway. He's freaky, dude.
oh no, he's freaky. But I'm honestly, me personally, watching it even after when I went back to watch to look to see the rook on his neck, I'm still not 100% sure he was real until, when she's like, well, yeah, they couldn't find my wedding ring, and when she sees him in the jail, like, oh, he was real. I was still never 100% sure he was real. I mean, I know the dog left, but in Stephen King world, that could be a ghost, and it also doesn't help that right now my TikTok feed is mostly of ghost videos where, like, the dog is sitting there lounging around and all of a sudden his ears perk up and then runs out of the room because, and then the camera swings over and there's something in the stairwell or whatever. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Without having been said, I think it's still good though. I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it a 6.9 also. I think it's I don't know, maybe 6.8. What does that do for the score? Yeah, that's fine. 6.8. I'm looking back at some other stuff. Yeah, I think that kind of fits.
About right?
Yeah, I think that fits. It's good. I don't know if I want to watch it again anytime soon, but if someone says, "Hey, it's Halloween, let's watch another Stephen King movie," I might could put that on. There's probably other Stephen King things I want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
We almost did the top 3 Stephen King movies. I mean, of the ones you've seen, is this one? Would you say it's the best?
No, not the best.
No,
I mean, you're saying
Shawshank.
like, yeah, it's
Shawshank is
take,
legitimately the best, almost the best movie ever made.
It's gonna take. It's gonna take. I mean, even Shawshank's not my favorite movie, but I would consider Shawshank
a masterpiece,
a far better movie. I mean, it is kind of a masterpiece. It's kind of a thing. I'm trying to think.
Where would you put this one?
Well, of movies that I've seen, because I haven't seen a lot of Stephen King, but it would definitely be top 5. Because a lot of the movies that he's done are kind of terrible. I'm looking at the movies that he's done. Let's see. I read Apt Pupil, but I never saw the movie, and that book scared me. That movie really freaked me out. I've not seen that. I'm just going through as quickly as I can to see which ones I've done. I honestly just don't remember what I've read or I've seen of his.
Yeah.
I never saw The Mist or The Dark Tower or I'm trying to think. So I saw. I would watch the Shawshank, Green Mile over this. I don't know. I'm trying to think. What else? This is definitely better than Carrie, which I've seen.
Yeah. Stand By Me.
I've never seen enough of it. I haven't seen enough of it to say that I would like one or the other. You know what I'm saying? I've seen like the first 20 minutes of that movie. I've seen the original It. This is way better than the original It.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen most of the original Pet Sematary. This is way better than that. There was one, I don't remember what it was called, but they were like, I have seen Firestarter, and that movie kind of scared me as a kid. There was one though. It was like these. They were like animals or something. They were like aliens. It was really bad. I can't think of.
Dreamcatcher?
Is that what it is? I don't remember. They look like weird big cats or something. It was a dumb movie. Is that Dream? I honestly don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, Andrew, this would definitely be top. I guess probably at this point, maybe like top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So, but there's just some other stuff. I mean, I would put this ahead of The Shining personally. And I know what.
I think I would too.
I mean, I know.
And I like The Shining.
Yeah. I mean, I know what
I might agree with you there. I might agree.
Yeah.
Just because Shining's so long and harder to get through.
Yeah.
And as far as cringeworthy, this one definitely has that one beat.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Elevators of Blood have nothing on the handcuff of slipperiness.
Ugh. All right, let's end this thing. Next week, we're doing something else. What do I already said we're doing? We Summon the Darkness. Looking forward to that. We're not quite getting too long yet, but I just want to ask: you guys watched anything recently fun, or cool, or bad?
We started season 6 of Schitt's Creek, which is hilarious, but nothing movie wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really recall what I've done for the past couple of days.
That's fair.
Mr. Grad School, I'm sure there's some other stuff taking your attention.
Yeah. I haven't watched very much of anything.
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I watched a handful of episodes of Lower Decks, the Star Trek Lower Decks show. It's really funny. I can't force myself to get back into Umbrella Academy. I
don't enjoy it as much as I enjoy The Boys.
I like The Boys better than Umbrella, but I did enjoy.
I haven't watched The Boys yet. I'm honestly, this is going to sound so weird. I'm not in the mood for TV. I just want to watch movies right now. I did go watch Hocus Pocus at a drive-in recently. That was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
That was a lot of fun.
You know they're doing the sequel or a second Hocus Pocus, right?
Yeah. And the last thing that I did start watching at your suggestion, Sam, the Social Experiment
Network.
The Social.
Oh, golly, yeah.
The
Social Dilemma.
The Social Dilemma, the Netflix doc. I started watching that. I'm about an hour into it, like about 30 minutes left.
Yeah.
So that's that's crazy.
Fascinating.
It is really fascinating. So anyway, that's it. That's our show. My gosh, that was fun. I'm looking forward to
good
next
job,
week.
Guys. It was fun.
Next week it's going to be super dumb and campy, I think, but it's going to be We Summon the Darkness. And
can we thank Lady Wan again?
Oh yeah, Lady Wan. That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah, her coming on, and go check out her show if you're a listener of our show. Her show is Screen Fix, and if you have found our show because of her and her show, welcome. That's really cool. Yep. And the pool is nice and cool or warm or whatever I'm supposed to say. So
it's gross, dude. Why is it warm?
The Kool-Aid is yummy.
Yeah, the Kool-Aid is drink some Kool-Aid and hang out. It'll be great. I don't know what I'm saying. I should stop. So I'll just say simply, our website is now cheapseatreviews.libsyn.com, where you can find our old episodes, because that's all you really need our website for, is to check out old episodes. Leave us a review on iTunes. That'd be great. Google Play, YouTube, Stitcher. Not Stitcher, but whatever. Facebook is facebook.com/cheapseatreviews, and at Twitter is at Twitter. That's not a thing. At CheapSeatCast is our Twitter account. cheapseatreviews@gmail.com is where you can send us an email if you have any requests. We're filled up until the end of 2020, but if you guys think of something that you would rather us do, I'm all for it. 2020 can't end soon enough, so if you got something that's appropriate, let's do it. So on behalf of Andrew and Sam, this is Sean saying thanks so much, and we'll see you next week.